turn on your mic. Thank you. Call the meeting to order and ask for any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Declare that closed. Approval of the agenda, resolution, the agenda for the November 27th, 2023 Quinte West Police Service Board meeting be approved. So I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor O'Neill and Mr. O'Malley, any comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And minutes of the Quinte West Police Service Board meeting held on August 28th. Need a mover and a seconder for that. Sheila and Ted, thank you. Moved and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay, Mr. Bill Tremblay, Community Policing is here and provide a verbal update. Thank you, Bill. I saw you yesterday. You were looking good yesterday and even better today.
Well, you weren't looking too shabby yourself yesterday either, or Friday or Saturday for that matter. Good parade on Friday at Frankfurt, eh? I haven't been here for a while, and I thought maybe I got a call from the clerk, and she said, "I think it'd be about time you come up and let us know what's going on, eh?" So, as I mentioned before, we did our first bike rodeo since the COVID, and we did the 9 schools in Quinte West and 400 kids done by 5 old folks in our little group. Got that going. Everything was fine. We're still up doing our seniors frauds whenever they come up. We've got 5 or 6 on the board right now, so we get them done. Got a call from Royal Canadian Legion this year about putting a few extra eyes on the cenotaph on Friday the 10th with the young cadets out there. We got together, and as I was telling the inspector, early in the evening they had their own staff out there. Community policing went out there at 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning. We also went from 2 a.m. till 5 a.m. in the morning. And if I'm not mistaken, we had one fella go in at 5 a.m. till 7. So we covered the late nights, early morning for the cenotaph for those young cadets over there. We also, as you know, we did the 2 Santa Claus parades, Your Worship, Saturday at Frankfurt and last night here in Trenton. Too bad the rain came for Trenton. I talked to Chris Angelo about his Fantasy of Lights, and they're up there now, and he has not yet found any security for his Fantasy of Lights. After a couple of years ago we had all that vandalism. So the guys at Community Policing, we're going to try and see if we can do something for them. I told them we'd give them a shot. We're going to try 7 to 9, 9 to 11, and if a couple of the other guys are hot on the trail, they're going to go from 11 o'clock on a couple of days a week out here as long as they're on. So we're going to see if we can give that a shot. Maybe we can put that in the books as how we justify ourselves with such a small group over there now. But yeah, so we're keeping busy and we're doing what we have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll have to make sure you're somehow compensated for all that extra work. We really we appreciate the price that we're paying right now, but I recognize the value of what you do, and if I can help any way other than I'm not going out there with you, but if there's anything I can do to help you get extra help, let me know, because I could certainly reach out and see if there's anyone out there willing to help you.
We're having a battle right now. As I had mentioned before, we had about 30 members before the COVID. And after the COVID was over, we put the feelers out for our people to come back. And we got 14 people back out of 30. Talked to everyone that wasn't coming back personally, and they just didn't have the time anymore, or they were busy with something else. We've now lost 2 more, brought us down to 10. But we're having a great deal of trouble getting volunteers. As I mentioned to the staff sergeant, this being the years of computers and cell phones and all that kind of stuff, I had to pass on 3 or 4 fellows who came in who were great candidates for Quinte West community policing, and they're not prepared to put their personal information out online if they don't know where it's going to go for sure. You know, there's always some character in between who's going to take that information. And so I've lost those guys. And so we're working on, I'm having a job with Peter Adams. He's going to look after us. We need a secure computer and a scanner for our mail.
Good.
When we do these. So he's busy, he's short-staffed, he's going to get back to me, he's going to help us out, see if we can. And in the meantime, Chuck Lane, he's out there beating the bush at VIQ and all kinds of places. And it seems that he's banging his head against the wall. And he's always said, I said, how you making out, Chuck? He says, every time I call somebody, they just say, well, we'll call you back. And we never get an answer back, you know? So we're working on it. We got 6 months. We're going to go till our next bike rodeo and see how things go, you know? And then I'll be talking to you and the inspector in 6 months, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the work you do and all the people that help you. I really do. Thank you.
These people that we have right now, we have 6 ladies who are dedicated right to the eyebrows to keeping the doors open and the lights on through the winter.
Yeah.
They want the doors open so that anybody comes by, they can pop in, and they're even willing to give them a cup of coffee if they're hot, you know, if they're cold out there. And so these ladies are doing a great job, and the other 4 or 5 guys, we're trying to keep the outside going as best we can. So, as I say, we're going to give ourselves 6 months. We're going to hope to get our nominal roll back up to 30 again, and we'll let you know what's going on.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much. Anything under public input? Anyone? Do we know of anyone? No? Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Strategic plan, Ontario Provincial Police. You want to bring us up to date on anything with respect to that, Inspector? Or?
I just wanted to include it in here so you could take a look at it. I only received it last week, so even though we're almost through 2023, this is the plan for 23 to 25. Very similar to years past. They've just kind of made it more robust, still with community work and people as the focuses. And this, of course, ties into the action planning that we did earlier this year on a local level, and eventually the strategic planning that you would do as a police service board. So when you have a chance to take a look at it, if there's any questions, I'm happy to expand on exactly what we're doing, but this is the OPP's vision for the next 3 years.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Sheila, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So I was just looking at the document that says OPRIL, O-P-R-I-L. Is that something new to the package?
So that's in the Police Service Board report attached to the next on the agenda. And it is something that I've included only the last few times. Essentially, the template that we have to show police complaints in our general reporting gives 0 detail. So that's just to give some context to the complaints that we get in the resolution process.
Okay. Anyone else? Do we need a motion to accept that, or will we do it all at once?
Mr. Mayor, if we could do it all at once, that would be
okay.
preferable.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So. Okay, we got correspondence from Sarah Caldwell regarding strategic planning, and I think that's going to be a part of our agenda for the Police Service Board is to develop our strategic plan and website, and I think Yvonne's comfortable with the website as it is. Is that correct?
So I met with the clerk and communications department last week, and as we all know, that's one of the components of the new act. And we do currently have on the city's website, under the community boards and communities page, we do have information currently. We do post all minutes and agendas currently to the website, but going forward, we will create a standalone page for the Police Service Board to include all new policies, strategic plans, and any other pertinent information that's required.
Okay, and just go back to community policing per minute, do we have to post all the information of members of the community policing, or can it all go through my office and then we direct it?
Community policing
Yes.
on our website?
Well, that's what Bill's concerned with, is the members putting their information
Oh, this
out.
is completely separate.
Okay.
It won't include
I
information.
realize that, but I just want to make sure. I guess what I'm asking is, do we have to post their information, or can we just post the fact that we have community policing, Bill is chairperson, and the rest of it comes through the police service board? That's my,
Yeah, we don't post anything, I believe, currently about community policing on our website. So,
Your worship, the concern is with our electronic criminal records check. That's where he says the volunteers are having some issues with having to enter their personal information into the portal to get a criminal record check through the virtual system. So it's not posting their names, which we don't have to do on our site. It's putting their information in to get a criminal record check.
okay.
and that's separate from
If
our
I
website.
may interrupt for a second, please.
Yes.
We would like to have a spot on the Quinte West website. We don't have. We can go on to the website and look up community policing, and we get community policing from here to Newfoundland. We don't get anything that mentions Quinte West community policing.
Well, we'll take, let's say we take a look at this and see what we can work out.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Any other? Okay, good. Okay, resolution that the correspondence provided by the Quinte West Police Service Board be received and filed as presented. So need a mover and a seconder for that one. Oh, before I do that?
Sorry, Your Worship, I spoke to the strategic plan, but not to the report for the last quarter. I don't know if you wanted to go over that, or if you...
Sure, that's fine, yes.
Yeah, so there are two separate documents that I submitted to the
Yes.
clerk for this package. So the first one is done by our general headquarters, that's the strategic plan. The second one is our local police service report. So again, tying into that Oprah page, Sheila, is where the public complaints are, breaks down to 3 service complaints and 1 conduct, but that next page shows what those were and how they were resolved. One of the things that I found historically is sometimes there can be a number of complaints that come in, but when you see the resolution of them, they're classified as frivolous, or they're withdrawn, or they're unfounded. So I don't like to just throw out there that people are complaining. I also like to show that when they check, we're usually doing a pretty good job. So that's where that comes in. The intelligent-led policing crime abatement strategy is our checks on people who are on bail conditions. So we continue to do that. This time, only 4 offenders charged for breaching, which is very low, actually, for the checks that we do. Our patrol hours, broken down there. Our foot patrol and school patrol often get tied into community service stats, so those are higher than they are. We've been very busy in the schools, as you'll see later on in the reports. Our violent crime stats, this here being run just until October, doesn't have any homicides, but we did have a homicide last month on Nicholas Road, so there was one there. The offender was also deceased on the scene, so there's no charges in that one, but we did have a domestic violence death in that area. They've been doing a lot of work on our clearance stats. One of the things that they've identified with the way that they keep our statistics is that if we have an offender who's identified, but the victim does not want to go through court, depending on how we put that in the computer, it can say it's an unsolved crime, even though it just hasn't hit the court process. It's solved. It's not an unknown offender. But so they're working on that process, trying to get some real stats as to what is unknown and unsolved versus just not able to process through the court process. Continuing with the property crime, pretty much equal, other than our break-in enters have gone down quite significantly. I don't know what to attribute that to, but I'm very happy to see it, because break-in enters obviously cause everyone a lot of stress. Continue to be busy with our drug unit, primarily with our community street crime, but our road officers are also having great success with vehicle stops and taking both drugs and firearms out of vehicles when they stop them for traffic offenses. As we have officers who have a little bit more experience, they're just that little bit better at knowing what they're looking at and having some headway with those contacts on the streets. Going into the motor vehicle collisions, again, it also shows that this year we didn't have any fatalities, but as you know, last week we did have a 14-year-old who was struck on Second Doug Hill Road who is now deceased. So we have had a fatality. That is before the courts, and that gentleman will be going through the court process. Continue to be very busy with the impaired drivers. So again, our template has a glitch in it where it's not including the impaired, so I've included a separate impaired driving summary. This one also shows which ones are alcohol related and which ones are drug related. So I know that that's often a question, is how many drug related impaireds. Alcohol is very easy for us to measure. We can smell it. We can use our intoxilizer to tell exactly how much blood is in. Drug use is more subjective. We have to see the impairment and talk to the impairment. And then in some cases, we can get a urinalysis process, which takes some time, but we have to have a much higher threshold to force people to give us either blood or urine to do that testing. So we do have some luck with it. I guess the good thing is that we don't actually catch a lot of people who are impaired by drugs. It's still alcohol. Unfortunately, people with alcohol are not getting the message. This also shows how many of them came in through collisions and driving complaints. So 10 impaireds caught because they were in a collision and 11 through driving complaints. So people calling 911 to let us know that someone's driving poorly is having success, and we are able to take some of those drivers off the road. And then the part where I just brag about all the community work that we're doing, that's the free flow anecdotal stuff on the end. PC Howard is still our community mobilization officer. So he attended 92 mental health calls within that 3-month period, 100 impact referrals, so done with a social worker, 19 proactive impact calls, so where impact has gone and taken the call without the police having to attend with them. So that's usually either someone where we've had a call unrelated and made a referral, or someone who shows up at our front desk. We now have where they come to the front desk specifically asking to speak with impact. They come to the police station knowing that that process is there. A number of different groups that they're involved in, walkthroughs and lockdown drills in the schools, as well as talking to a law class, and then the participation in a situation table. So the success story that he brought to my attention this time from the situation table was a 44-year-old male with mental health and addictions problems and some developmental delays. He lost his support system through deaths in his family, and was looking at being evicted. So we have found permanent housing for him and resources, and he's able to continue to live somewhat independently in the community without all of those crises causing him further issues. And then Constable Art Witowski is still working as our community safety officer. So he did a number of different events throughout the city, including a few food drives. The most recent one we did was for Food for Learning. So we do the majority of them for the food bank, but we did specific for the school programs in our last one. A number of presentations in conjunction with St. Leonard's, who does most of our youth programming, including our early intervention and all of our school presentations. So a lot around consent and boundaries, sharing of intimates, healthy relationships. So trying to catch people before they get into destructive behaviors as adults. We did some bike training so that we have more officers that can go out next summer and do the bicycles at the community events. And then also assisting with the lockdown drills at the high schools and some of the elementary schools. And then some of the stats for Community Street Crime Unit, which is our joint unit between detachments. We work with Centre Hastings and Bancroft and share officers and resources. So in these 3 months, just within Quinte West, to show you what our 3 officers do. So that's 3 officers from Quinte West and then 3 officers from the neighboring detachment work on that team. And all of those charges and items that were seized were seized by those 3 officers. So extremely productive unit, very hardworking and very good at what they do. And that is what we have been doing for the last 3 months.
Much, I understand, yes. Any comments or questions? Ted, Mr. Reed?
First of all, congratulations and thanks go out to the police and community policing and everybody involved in the Santa Claus parades. It's were on yesterday. I think they were extremely, from what I understand, well handled. And anything to make somebody smile, old or young, these days is great. So thanks for your help on that. And even, I guess, Santa Claus is over here, and we can expect a new car or something, a new truck, and underneath the tree from Santa. But anyway, I'm just speculating. Anyway, down to the other business. I was really glad to see in your report, Christina, about the numbers involved in terms of the fraud, and it looks like it's holding off. I see as well something that's a real service, I think, is when on your phone directory, you've got, if there's fraud, hit 3. So I don't know how that's working. I'd like to get a comment on that. Is that working fairly well, or?
Yes, if we're able to triage some of the fraud calls on the front end when they call into the detachment for the frauds, any of the information ones where they don't lose money can go through that and get an officer who's maybe not local but is used to taking those reports and can make those connections and see different patterns. So it takes some of the traffic away from our local officers who are doing the active calls, but still make sure that they're acknowledged and the investigation that's warranted is done.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a good service, and one that will likely need to be continued with all the calls we're getting, Amazons and all the different calls and fraud. And I know the community policing are doing some work on that too. So that's great, and I'm hoping that it's working. And as you were saying at earlier meetings, there's a lot of it not sent in any communications to you. A lot of fraud going on. I think there's an embarrassment factor there that people don't want to let out that they have been taken, and I can understand that. So that's great. Also, you mentioned the work of the mobilization officers, and that'll never get old. I mean, that is awfully important in our community these days to see them out there and the good work that they're doing. So that's my comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding the fraud, there seems to be a new sophisticated one from RBC. I just got it to our work email, and most of them are easy to decipher because there's either like a capital letter somewhere, or there's misspelling, the logos look off. But this said RBC alerts your account is reaching a dangerous low. Now, I never click on anything. I'm just saying, like, it just seems to be more sophisticated, and I could see how people would take a look at that. And then my question, that was just for information. My question regarding the reports is well done. Most categories seem to be on the lower end. They're going down, which is a good thing. I just wanted a bit of clarification with, do assaults and abductions and trafficking ever overlap, or they're just two separate categories all the time?
Yeah, there's overlap between all of the different categories. What it does is it chooses the most serious violation. So it could be an assault with a forcible confinement and an abduction, and it would only classify it under the abduction. Unless there was bodily harm, then it would classify it as the assault bodily harm. So whichever one is the most serious, according to the matrix, is what it counts under.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the inspector. Under the abductions, I'm surprised that there's 8 in this small area to the October. Could you sort of expand on that? And I think there was even one last week, wasn't there?
Yeah, so abductions, again, is quite a broad category. A couple of those are drug-related incidents where someone has been taken against their will to go get money that they owe. And that was what our one last week was. So I think 3 of them that right off the top of my head that we've had were drug-related, where it's money owing and between a small group of people. Some of them are family-related, where someone keeps their child past the custody time or takes the child when they don't have custody, which are usually quite quickly resolved. And then there will be usually 1 in every 3rd where a child reports that they've been approached on the street, which if we can't disprove it or put the reason for it, then it goes on there. So kidnappings, children being snatched off, that we do not have that, but there are other people where they're held against their will and taken places that fall under that abduction category.
Great, thank you.
Start over. Thank you very much. I appreciate the information and how well it's all put together and explained for us. So a lot of good work done and a lot ahead of us. So that's what makes our life interesting. Things just continue, and that's the best part. So, okay. Okay, was anything else? I guess you'd say under information for us. Anything else anyone has at this time, or we're good? Maybe I need a mover and a seconder to accept all information as given to us. Councillor Dave's moved, seconder.
I actually do have a question.
Oh, okay.
Regarding the last piece.
Go ahead.
It looks to me. Sorry. So under the document from the Minister of the Solicitor General, it looks like that we have approval for additional community members. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And is there a time frame that we're going to be adding people, or is that through the CPSA?
I think we've already done it, but.
Or did we? We're moving, it looks like we have approval for another council seat and another community rep. Just wondered about timeframes, or if that's something that's going to happen in this term, or how
Yes.
that works.
Oh.
Just a general question, no answer needed.
I don't
Thank
know,
you.
Clerk, can you update us on that, or do you want to make sure we have the right information and come back?
Yeah, I think it's best to double check. I know that we do have another council seat available for sure, but we've already appointed Councillor Kotsovos,
Yes.
who will just, as far as I know, will just slide into that spot. And I'll have to double check on the other appointment.
Okay, thank you. We'll have it for next meeting for sure. Okay. Then we got the, okay, so we'll take all the information up to, I guess you'd say the schedule of meetings. So we'll take everything up to there. So I got a mover and a seconder for that. Sheila seconds. All in favor? I guess that's what I asked at this time. All in favor? I just need your, okay. All right, that's passed. Then resolution for the meeting schedule. That's what we need to look at. Meeting schedule approval. If it works for everybody, then we're great. Anybody it doesn't work for? Likely me, but I'll make it work. Yvonne will make it work. So, okay, all right. I need a motion to accept the meeting schedule then. Moved by Chuck, second by Sheila. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And then new training reporting requirements. Yeah, yes, and the province is coming out with some miraculous, ideas that are, I guess, good someplace, great other places, and fit us fine. So whatever training is required, I think most of you have already done it. I know we almost have. If you haven't, you'll have to do it. It's compulsory, but my idea for it is keep it simple, give us all a chance to breathe and understand and work together and follow the inspector's lead, and we'll be great. We'll be good. That's my opinion. Anything else under the new training? Anyone else have any other comments you want to make, or you? Okay, I'm fine. All right, so,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
Just a couple of comments under, I guess, the umbrella of communication efficiencies. And it's, I had a meeting on some other things with our local MPP on Friday, and this come up in terms of timelines that Sheila's talking about and so on. And he phoned direct through to the Solicitor General's office, and basically for provincial appointees and so on, that process will all be coming out in the new year. And they didn't have an answer yet on when, they wanted the recommendation from everybody and the approval of the recommendations for the extra councilor member and community member, and I know it's already happened here, so we're ahead of it. So that was his thing. In terms of the communications things relative to this, it seemed to be his opinion that most of their time would be spent on multiple police groups getting together in municipalities, the amalgamation and getting the process worked out for that. And I can imagine that'll be a lot of fun, that one, because everybody will want the top service. Not necessarily our single board at all.
No.
And so your comments about keeping it simple, I think we'll have it as simple as we can get it for one board operation. In the future on the training and the reporting requirements, I'd like to, I guess there's a bylaw that says that we have difficulty using this rooms or some restriction on it for our training in terms of numbers. And if I could get Josh I don't know whether it's a bylaw or what it is relative to that, and maybe send out to the rest of the members, we could maybe comment on it. I'm not sure we're comparing apples with apples in terms of the audience. And it seems to me that if we got something new coming out, whether it's a new product, new program, new act in this case, we get the shareholders together, the stakeholders, in one place to hear all the same message at the same time.
Sure.
We identify issues and gaps at that time that we can clean up really quick, and we had a classic example of that in the last one. Rather than putting it off and ask everybody for their input at the next meeting at 3 months down the road, whatever it may be, I think it takes away from the delay in getting the efficiency stuff going. And so anyway, if there's, I don't know, we can call it professional development, call it whatever, if it helps out with the bylaw. But I'd just like to ask that we get a look at it and see if we can make that work, because again, in terms of communication efficiencies, I just never ever heard of anything different than getting the stakeholders in the room, getting the message all at the same time, identifying gaps, identifying issues, and getting them cleaned up quicker. So could we get a copy of that bylaw sometime, or do you want to speak to it now, Josh? Or?
Yeah, if I could just speak to it quickly. So it's on a bylaw.
Whatever.
There's a provision under the Municipal Act that says that if a board or a committee or council meets in the majority or with quorum, then it's technically a meeting. So if it's not organized by my department and you guys are kind of just meeting ad hoc to do training, then that can be construed as a meeting. And basically, if it's not advertised, we didn't go through the proper process, then we risk a closed meeting investigation, because technically it's held in secret. So my thought is, next time something like this happens, when there needs to be training, we will plan this as a meeting to do training. So we'll actually plan it just like we are now, and then follow all the steps that we need for it to be a public meeting like this one is today, just to make sure that we cross all our T's and dot all our I's to make sure that we're following the Municipal Act.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, but that's great. Thanks for that explanation. But if we need to call an official meeting, let's call an official meeting. I mean, it's a communication process that we really want to get clean here, and if it fits into the structure, and it should, call it what we want to. But it's really important to get the stakeholders in one room all at one time. I can tell you we've done hundreds of that things over the years. So anyway, whatever fits, I guess, let's try to make it fit. So
Yes,
that when the next,
And I don't disagree with you at all. It's a
Okay.
training session's a training session, and we can bring everybody together under the Municipal Act or whatever. Nobody's going to question a training session. That's the purpose of, as you said, informing us all at the same time, same level, same understanding, and we get any questions answered so it's clarified. So we'll be sure and do it so that everybody knows what we're doing. We're not built to run or hide, so we'll be there. Thank you very much. Anything else?
To you, Your Worship, I'd just like to back Ted up on that, because we were a little concerned, Josh, nothing against you, I know you're doing your job, but we had already met once And Christina showed up and helped clarify a lot of issues. And that's the whole idea of learning and development. And it even indicates that under the act that that's allowed. So we were just taken back by the second meeting that we couldn't participate as a group because we felt that it was a lot more productive that way to clarify issues right at the source. And it's all new to us, and I think we all come to an agreement that, you know, the major impact is going to be on the boards that are amalgamating and not necessarily us. But there will be some work to do, and we're all behind that. So anyways, that was just a clarity issue, and I'm glad Ted brought it up, and I want to support that as well. Thank you.
We all support it, even though I was a little confused, but
You were upstairs.
But somebody straightened me out next to me here, so we're good. We're all good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yvonne, you're still with us? You're good? You're good with what's ahead? And I can't hear anything. Thank you. Okay, good.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry to butt in.
Go ahead.
It's my time to put the lights on and the coffee on and open the doors. I want to thank you all for listening to my little jab here, and hopefully that we can get things ongoing. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to slide out the back door.
Okay, well, you're welcome, and be in touch. We'd like to try to get you out for a group of you out for something.
Absolutely.
Something to eat. You're like me, you need it.
Yes. Yes, really. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Okay, so we got everything done under the new training for reporting and so on is just a comment from my point of view, and we got to remember, as I said, number one is keep it simple. Board members are paid, but you're not paid that well. But Dave and I were at a meeting on Friday, and there's a large spectrum in terms of remuneration for police service boards. So we're good. I think we're very good. So we'll stick with what we do, and you know, the training that they're talking about, as Ted alluded to, is there are a number of boards that are being amalgamated or even I guess you'd say eliminated. So that's where a lot of training is directed. So we're very fortunate. We're a standalone unit, standalone detachment, and we don't have to negotiate with anyone. We have a contract, and we have a police service board budget. So we work in that budget, and we try to stay within that budget. And we have an excellent, excellent leaders, I should say, because our budget is relatively stable. I think it's very stable. I think it's even better than stable. So I don't have to say much more than that. But when we're out at meetings and we get to talk to other people, we realize just how good things are at home. You know, that's a big part of learning. You know, I appreciate the work that everyone does. And you know, yesterday and Saturday, Santa Claus Parade, people were police were at many locations where they needed to be, and a lot of people out to both parades last night. I don't think anybody stayed home. I think everybody was there, from you name it to wherever. We just got done in time. It was a dark trip home for the tractor driver, but he made it. That's most important. And big crowd, which is what the parade's for, is to hopefully entertain and help some people enjoy Christmas even just a little bit better than they might. And of course, Christmas is the time of year we take time to think about how important life is and how important it is that we're here and have a chance to treat others better than they normally are, or whatever we can do. So it was great, and I thank you very much. And I'm going to go to Councillor O'Neill and ask him if he has any comments from Friday's meeting that we attended, or he wants me to, whatever works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very pleased with the Zone 2 meetings, the police showing what they do, how they do it. It's really informative, and I really enjoy going to those meetings. And I'm sure you do too, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Well, I enjoy the trip because I don't have to drive. That's what I enjoy.
Please don't say I don't put my hands on the wheel again.
What goes on in the barn stays in the barn, right? You drove well, and I'm pleased with that. So, Zone 2 financial report as of Friday is a balance in the bank of $2,855. That's a plus, so that's great for Zone 2. We had Chief Superintendent Stephanie Patterson speak to us, and I think she started by describing her life and her, I guess you'd say, policing experiences, and how she had to juggle her married life and be in one place and her husband in another for a little bit of time, but then she's back home, what she called to be home, and so she's quite pleased with that. And she also indicated that there are many changes. Yes, there are, and I picked out the word, and I hope you did too, that be prepared for the unexpected. I think she was referring to what's happening in different parts of our province, maybe particularly Niagara Falls last week with the accident. They also spoke about the sadness related to the police officers who were shot as they went to an occurrence. So basically what she's saying is, you think everything's under control and you think you're doing everything right, just make sure you are. I think that's basically, our emergency training that we had last week was great, and I think that's the kind of thing that we're kind of situations that we possibly may have to deal with sometime. We hope never, but it is possible. And I did something right? She indicated that there was the first time she'd been to a police service board meeting, and she came home with roses. So I thought, that little bit of money that Councillor O'Neill loaned me was good stuff. Good stuff. So, but my wife's birthday is today, and I haven't gotten her anything, but I likely will sometime today. But you forget the people that are closest to you, So, but she's. Your worship, you better look after her. She's come a long way. She babysat you, hasn't she? Thank you. Okay. Well, anyways, anything else from Zone 2? Oh, Constable. The dog handler, Dale Solf, spoke to us, and he was here. I can't tell you what year it was, but I ran into him at the airbase with something that he was doing, and he still has the English accent that he had then, and but he loves the police work, but he really loves the job he's got now. You can really tell, and the dogs love him too. The dogs love him too. So. He's a dog handler, and he explained he has 2 dogs, and explained what they do and what the difference is. And one dog, don't put your hand up. Don't. If he does grab you, don't try to get away from him. Stay with him, because otherwise you're going to have more than 4 bite marks. So the other dog was I think just like a, what do you call him? Search dog. Searching.
One was a lab that
Yeah.
didn't bite, and the other was a German Shepherd, I think, that did. But rescue dog, I think, was the word.
Yeah, the lab was the one that he let out in the room, and you could pet the lab and so on, but the lab could go in that room and search for whatever it was that he was asking him to do. So it was a great information, but I felt the most important to me was how much he loved what he is doing. And he said he works 24/7, and when he has a day off, he's cleaning kennels or training his dog. So he's and he got his start from Quinte West, right? Well, maybe not quite, but a lot of time here, and he's.
Constable Solf was one of our recruits. We trained him and had him for the first 3 years of his career. Yeah,
Great.
wonderful, wonderful police officer.
Well, you did a great job because he spoke well of us and was great information for all people there. So, and the superintendent Patterson was great. She explained a lot of things that are going on and many things that are ahead of us. And no, I think anything else that you.
I really enjoyed both presentations, and he was very positive, and he explained a lot of stuff in a very positive way.
Yeah, so it was good. Okay, I think that brings me up to the, I think we're, anything else under other business? Anything else? Michael?
Bill had left. I just was going to say for new business, what is the extent that they have to give personal information that they're hesitant about? Is there no longer an opportunity to ask for the criminal record check in person? I know when I volunteered at schools, I just went in person. I didn't have to show anything other than my license. Or are they intimidated by the actual portal that they're going to click a link?
I've tried to ascertain that. You cannot do them in person any longer, other than you come in and give us your information and then we put it into the portal for you. It has to go through that. It is all secure. It's all vetted. There's nobody intercepting the information on the way. But I think that because they have some volunteers who are a little older and less tech savvy, they're just cautious about it and they don't understand that. Their solution is to put a computer in their office that goes into the exact same portal that they would go onto in any other spot. So if it makes them feel more secure, that's great, but it doesn't actually change the security in any way. So
You did answer my question, if they should be encouraged to come down to the detachment then. I guess, like, because then if you're doing it, I have no issue. I wouldn't think they would either to give their license over. I think maybe they're worried about actually like clicking something they're not supposed to, or the internet having their information. But if they're just handing it over to you and they know it's done properly, maybe they may feel a bit more secure and get more volunteers again?
yeah, we've offered to assist. I think that there's something lost in the translation with the people they're recruiting. But we're there if they're willing to come and see us, for sure.
I think we'll ask Yvonne to reach out to Bill if there's any way we can help. You'll look after that. Thank you.
And further, Bill asked if they have information on the website, perhaps applications for the volunteers?
Yeah. We'll reach out and make sure we get things done. Okay. All right, anything else? Okay. Take two for adjournment. Thank you very much. Have a good Christmas. Stay healthy. And I'm still mystified with how many people are still driving and don't understand. You know, I just don't understand it. So.